You're listening to Infernal Rock Radio on this Backfest weekend. Right now in the United States, in Madison, the massed hordes are gathering for the Stoner Doom weekend of the year. But here, you can catch the whole event live, streaming over the glories of the internet. Until then, you have me, DJ Fox, in the foxhole, and here with me in the studio, or at least by the glories of Skype, I have Dagon from Frostwork. Dagon, it's lovely to have you here.
Good evening to you.
Tremendous. So, Dagon, you are the brains behind Frostwork. What can you tell us about the project and about the band? Tell me all about Frostwork. Maybe there's someone out there who haven't yet heard you. Give us the rundown.
Well, I suppose I'd describe Frostwork as experimental ambient black metal. Started it about 2007, basically for experimentation, just to try out new ideas, basically, develop my writing, musically, lyrically. Not really particularly to make songs or music, just basically for practice. But it's grown into a project I'm enjoying doing.
Okay, so go on after you.
No, I mean, things with my other band was Heathen Deity, well, still is Heathen Deity. Things with that kind of went a little bit quiet due to various different reasons. So like I said, I just wanted to keep things fresh, keep myself motivated, get better at what I'm doing.
The thing is, Dagon, Frostwork doesn't sound like a side project for experimentation. This is a really mature work that you've got going on there. How long's Frostwork been in existence, and what sort of releases have you got out?
Well, like I just said, I mean, I suppose the idea for it came, like the back end of 2006, 2007, like that kind of time. It didn't start as anything. Like I said, it's matured into what it is now. We released the Rites of Winter, the Fair Storm EP. Did a self-release of 50 copies for that. That sold out fairly quickly, and started on the new album pretty much straight away. I mean, I think some of the music and everything was kind of part of the Fair Storm. Some of the stuff for Ealdspell was part of the Fair Storm, and I'm trying to bring everything together. I'm not trying to make an EP. I'm not really trying to make an album. I'm just trying to make a concept. Just developing it, just seeing how it goes.
Okay. Well, where do your influences come from? Because reading some of the reviews that have been online of the most recent release, they talk about the fact that there's a sense of you growing further than your Nordic forefathers. They talk about the fact that your work's a totally different kettle of fish to old Vikernes and his clones. So, this is high praise, but where are your roots and influences?
Well, that's a good thing, I think. I mean, I've not tried to imitate anybody. I've not tried to do anything apart from write the music that I like and I want to listen to, and I feel is kind of within me, if you know what I mean. As far as influences, probably sound like a bit of a cliche, but the Season of Winter, obviously, is a major influence. The cold weather, the the effect the season has on the world around us, the feelings you have inside you. I'm sure it's different, but to me, that's a very powerful thing. The visual imagery when it happens, everything covered in snow, and the ice, and the sculpture of it all, and everything else.
One of your reviewers said you could almost feel winter creeping through your bones listening to this music. So whatever you're doing, it's obviously translating itself well. Yeah. So people are picking up your influence,
That's good. I'll just keep going as I am then, I think.
Is right. So tell me, I've got a couple of tracks that you've given me that have been influential in your musical evolution, tracks you've enjoyed. Which one do you want me to play first?
Let's go for Ulver, I think.
Ulver. Tell me about Ulver. Why do you like Ulver?
Oh, just the pure diversity of the music. I mean, the black metal trilogy, or the trilogy, as they want to call it. Bergtat, Velsanger, Nathan's Madrigal. Yeah. I love that work.
It's just brilliant, isn't it? Absolutely brilliant.
Amazing trilogy. Been listening to those since I can't remember. Many a beer, many a good night listening to those albums.
Dead right, bud. Okay, well I'm going to play the first of those tracks for us then. I'm going to play Nathan's Madrigal, and this is Ulver. You're listening to Infernal Rock Radio. This is the Backfest weekend, but right now we're in the midst of the blackest metal you can imagine. This is Ulver. listening to Infernal. This is the Foxhole, and here is Dagon from Frostwork here in the studio with me. You alright, still in there, buddy?
I'm still here, mate. You can't go.
Good man. That was that was over Nathan's Madrigal. You've got a real wide range of influences. In a few minutes, we're going to play another track that you've selected as background.
Mm-hmm.
You say you've got another band that you're playing in.
Yes, Heathen Deity. Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about them?
Yeah. I mean, that was basically my first kind of venture into music, into writing and playing live and that kind of thing. Started Heathen Deity in '98. Just a group of friends getting together, with a interesting music, seeing how things progressed. We enjoyed it. We enjoyed it back then. It got a little bit more serious when a good friend Azrael joined the band. He played in a gothic rock band called 13 Candles.
Okay.
And we played a good few gigs in the UK, down in London and Bradford, and supported some good bands. And yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it's kind of, how things go sometimes. You have a big spurt of enthusiasm, and everything goes full pelt ahead, and then certain things happen in life. The people move away. A couple of the members moved over to Norway for various different reasons. Tried to piece together, auditioning random different people. Didn't really work out, so we just kind of put it on the back burner for a while. But keep tuned, because I'm hoping to get something kicked off with that fairly soon.
Wow, so you're going to be juggling Frostwork and Heathen Deity all at once?
With a bit of luck, mate, yeah. And a few other projects as well, to be honest. But
anything that you want to tell us about at this stage, or is it still a bit under wraps at the moment?
No, nothing's under wraps. Another project I'm doing with Azrael is a project we're calling Thornland, which is more folky, more folk kind of orientated. There's a couple of songs on Facebook. I think there's one video. We did a cover, a Wicker Man cover.
Okay. That's got to be one of the best films ever made. The Wicker Man. not the modern crap with all the bees, but the real thing with Fox and the plane, and that was just brilliant.
The old creepy version is definitely the best version.
Dead right.
We did a cover of Fire Leap.
Okay.
That worked out quite well. We enjoyed doing that, and we'll hopefully be doing a little bit more with that when we both have time.
Brilliant.
So
buddy, you've got a lot of plates spinning there.
Yeah,
it's good.
Like I said, mate, I like to keep myself busy. I like to keep things progressing.
Good man. Well, tell us more about your influences. You've chosen an Abigail track for the next track that we're going to play. Before we begin to play some Frostwork, why Abigail? What is it about Abigail that's particularly moved you?
The earlier albums, like the track I've chosen, off of Orc Blood: The Retaliation.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't kind of see it as an album. It's more like it's kind of more like an audio book. It's a story. It's a whole soundscape. It's it's raw. It's the emotion. The production of it I think is just right. I mean, I'm not quite sure when it was released. Quite a while ago now, I think it was.
Yeah, it was.
And yeah, it's just the whole thing. It's the whole thing. I mean, there's a lot of memories surrounding that kind of music, especially like Abigail and Ulver and Burzum, that kind of thing. Back in the old days when I was a lad, you know.
When you were lad. Okay. In that case, then, I'm going to play this second influence track before we start to play some of your material. This is Abigail. This is The Rising of Our Tribe. You're listening to Infernal Rock Radio. I have Dagon from Frostwork here in the studio, and in a few moments, we'll be back with him. listening to Infernal Rock Radio here on the Backfest 2012 weekend. If you're in the United States, or even if you're not and you want to hear the finest stoner doom weekend on the planet, then this is the place to be from midnight UK time, and from whatever time that is, Eastern Standard and Central Standard, you can tune in and catch all of the bands from Northless all of the way through to Speaker Eater and all of those in the middle. Right now I have Dagon from Frostwork here in the studio, or at least over Skype. We've just listened to Abigor and Ulva, which have been a couple of influential tracks. In a few minutes, Dagon, I'm going to play a track of yours which is a cover.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that, and tell me about how that came to be.
It's a cover of a Burzum song. It's called Dunkelheit, off of the album Filosofem, one of my personal favourites, I think. I was made aware of the compilation by my friend Azrael. He wanted to put that together with. Well, it grew. To be honest, I don't think it meant to be the monster that it ended up being. I mean, I don't really know. We'll have to ask him.
Remind me, how many tracks are on the album again?
It was a 2-disc. It's a 2-disc.
Yeah.
I couldn't actually tell you. This is bloody.
I think it's about 20 odd tracks, isn't it?
It's quite a few.
Yeah.
A couple of tracks were done from bands off of Woodfrecker Records.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of how I got involved in it. Obviously, he asked me to be on it. I agreed as long as it could have been. I could do Dunkelheit. He agreed.
Fantastic.
I don't know how he worked that one out. So I'm sure lots of bands wanted to do it, but he gave me the honour of doing that track.
Well, Dagon, if I wanted to get hold of this album, or if there was somebody listening who was thinking, that sounds really my kind of thing, where would I get it from, and how do I get my greasy mitts on a copy?
I believe there's still some physical copies left. I may be wrong. You have to find out for yourself, I'm afraid. But there may be some physical copies left if you go to the Woodfrecker website, the main website. It's woodfrecker.co.uk. Look on the releases there. It should be on there. Alternatively, if you're not one for a physical copy, if you do a search on bandcamp.com,
right.
I believe the whole album is there to be downloaded. Right.
Well, who else has compiled on the album with you?
There was. Try to think. It might be easy just to get the bleeding thing up on the internet and have a look, to be honest.
Okay, bear with me. I'm doing exactly that as we speak. Okay, you've got Ethelruna, you have Uruk-hai, you've got Waldschrat, Tamerlan, Raffenblot, who's been here on the show, Hoyland, Forgotten Lands, Symbiosis, yourself, Sufferance, Garden of Grief, Nordfolk. There's loads on there, buddy.
There's quite a lot.
It really is. It's 18 tracks.
18 tracks of goodness on there. You should definitely get yourself a copy.
Absolutely. And your contribution is Dunkelheit.
That's right, yes.
Okay, well, I'm going to play that right now. You're tuned into Infernal Rock Radio. This is Dunkelheit by Frostwork. So, Dagon, that was Dunkelheit off the Wadfrecker Records compilation. Tell us what else you've done music-wise with Frostwork. Tell us about the first two releases.
Right. Well, in 2008, I did a self-release, only 50 copies, of an EP called The Rites of Winter, The First Storm. This was kind of the first time I'd fully written and recorded everything. It was definitely a bit of a trial and error kind of thing.
Right.
With the processes of recording, the technical side, the whole creation of a new sound, to being happy with what I was capable of doing at the time with the equipment I had available, with that kind of thing.
So, buddy, were you playing and producing everything yourself on that? All of the instrumentation, all of the production?
Yes. On the first.
Fantastic.
EP. I had a rough idea of what I wanted it to sound like. But I didn't want to set it in concrete because, obviously, if it wasn't achievable with the equipment and my own kind of skill, I just wanted to see how it all panned out.
Right.
I know I wanted to make it as raw and as bleak, an empty sound.
Yeah.
Kind of almost kind of painful to listen to, if you know what I mean.
And in a way, don't get me wrong, it is, because I've played Shades of Grey and The Rites of Winter and The Storm here on the station, and there really is a sound world to it, isn't there? That sense of bleakness and shrill emptiness.
Mm-hmm.
It really has its own atmosphere.
Yeah, it took quite a while to get that sound. I mean, I've always kind of consider myself to be a little bit of a perfectionist.
Yeah.
People who know me probably will confirm that. I'm never really 100% satisfied with anything that I do.
Right.
Regarding music, I can always see where things can be improved. I'm always going back, re-recording things, changing things. So, like I said, I didn't want to set things in stone as it was. I just wanted to get the ideas down and see how it sounded, how I can improve it. And I'm fairly happy with it. I think it's come out quite well.
There's a real range of vocalization in black metal, from the really shrill and the really harsh and raw to, well, you name it, you can pour it into black metal. But I really think that the sound and what we were talking about earlier hits what you're trying to do. I know that we're talking about the first release at the moment, The Rites of Winter, The First Storm. But some of the reviews that I've been reading talk about the cold environment that you generate and the spewing of ice from the speakers. And one phrase really hit me. There's a lethal blizzard of death and despair. And that comes across particularly in tracks like Shades of Grey. It's storming stuff, mate. Storming stuff.
Well, thank you very much.
Your next release after The Rites of Winter, tell us a little bit about that, because that's just hit the shelves, hasn't it?
No.
Oh, go on, tell us.
No, it's not. That'll be out on the 12th.
Oh, so it's not actually out yet to be muckily grasped?
Not yet, no. Pre-orders on sale now. There was, for the first 20, there was a Frostwork patch, embroidered patch to go with the first 20 pre-orders. They have they've all gone now, unfortunately. But well, fortunate for the people that managed to get them.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's out on the 12th.
So we've got 3 days before it actually hits the shelves, and it's going to be on Wadfrecker Records, isn't it? Again. That
is correct. Yes.
So tell me, the release title and what's the theme of the album?
The new release is entitled Law of Winter Ealdspell.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a progression on the first storm. I think I mentioned to you earlier. I mean, some of the music for the new album was maybe thought up, a couple of riffs maybe thought up, and the ideas when I was doing Rites of Winter.
Yeah.
So Ealdspell will be split into three parts.
Right.
The first part is kind of based on a concept of my own folklore, really. I'm trying to develop this, maybe an ongoing theme with the Frostwork releases. I had like an image, an idea in my head was like on the first day of winter, a white raven is flying over the woodlands.
Right.
As he's passing over the world, there's a cascade of snow falling behind him from his wings, covering everything below him, thus invoking the season of winter.
Right. Wow.
I do enjoy the idea of folklore.
Yeah.
But I didn't really want to. I didn't want to touch on any of the other themes that there's so many bands out there doing that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be limited, so I thought I'd create my own, as it was.
Fantastic. Well,
it's limitless, basically, isn't it? So.
Absolutely. Well, you said that it's in 3 sections. Did you say?
Yeah, I did.
The first is this background with this raven with the snow behind it. That leads nicely into the track that you've given me then, which is the next one, I guess, is On White Carrion Wings.
Okay, yes, yeah.
Is there anything particular else that you can tell me about that track before I actually spin it?
That is probably one of my favourite songs on the new album. With a bit of luck, that is possibly where Frostwork is heading, I think.
Right.
Yeah, the mix of black metal and the mix of maybe some more clean sang kind of spoken parts. Yeah. It breaks up the music. It gives you the lows. It gives you the highs. You know, you drop out to a quiet, whispered speaking section, then straight back into the black metal again, and it keeps things fresh and varied, I believe.
See, I'd forgotten that the album's not out for another couple of days. I've been listening to the album all week, and I have to say, I'm excited. This is a decent, solid, really very mature album, and I think this track on White Carrion Wings is one of the best tracks I've heard this year in black metal, I have to say. So I'm going to play it now. This is Frostwork. This is Dagon's solo project. This is from the brand new album, available on Wadfracker Records. This is On White Carrion Wings. Okay, that was on White Carrion Wings by Frostwork. I have Dagon, who is the brains and the prime motivator behind the band. How's it going there, buddy? You still in there?
I'm still here, my friend.
Okay, that's tremendous. Okay then, you've told us about the first section of the new album. Tell us about the rest, the parts 2 and 3.
Okay. The second part of the album, on the Ealdspell, I wanted to kind of concentrate more on the feeling, the bleak, the anguish that I personally feel surrounds winter, the death, the rebirth, all those kind of things. I basically kind of regard that to be the essence of winter.
Yeah.
So the first track on the second section is one called "Frozen Veins Shed No Blood," which is basically about freezing to death, being alone deep in the woods, and your body dying, and your brain to be the last part to die. Then your essence gets absorbed back into the woods, into the soil. I think kind of inspiration-wise with that, I mean, the lyrics for that song, I kind of wrote the majority of those lyrics while I was out walking in the woods, kind of thing.
Right.
I think basically the simplest form of inspiration is the best. You get out and try to experience the things you're going to be talking about, you're going to be writing about to some degree. I mean, you can't possibly do it any other way. Personally, that's what I think anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's that one. The next song on that one is one called "The Essence of Darkest Winter," which is basically about a spirit wraith, like a cold, a dark, chilling, haunting apparition. Maybe like a spirit of vengeance, if you would, for nature, for the woods, perhaps, cleansing the woods, that kind of thing. Bit more of a harsh, more black metal, I think, that song. The middle section is basically the more black metal side of me coming out, that kind of thing.
Right.
The third part is another concept. I've kind of adapted from the film Company of Wolves.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Two songs in that section. One's a sample that I've used from the film and added extra parts to it to blend into Frostwork more. Basically all about lycanthropy, based on the she-wolf, how she was misunderstood, and that kind of thing. Possibly something I'll be touching on again on the next release, but I'm not really sure. We'll see how it goes, I think.
So the point is, buddy, this isn't knuckle-headed metal. This is thoughtful stuff. This is stuff that actually you've sat down and your lyrics are not just about the girl who's broken your heart or about something awful that happened to you as a child. This is
what bands have you been listening to?
Living folklore, like you've said.
Yeah, I mean, I've mentioned before, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. I'll scrap whole songs and start again. I'll scrap whole pages and pages of lyrics and start all over again. This album has been a long time in the making, because basically I wasn't happy with it. So, I've redone the drums God knows how many times. I've re-recorded the guitars endless amounts of times. A good friend of mine, Damien, he helped with the mixing and the mastering of this. The poor lad must hate me the amount of times that I said no, that's not quite right. can we go for the next mix? Can we try this again? Can we?
Right.
You know, but basically, if you're not happy with your own work, what's the point in making?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Don't put crap out just for the sake of putting something out.
No. I'm a firm believer of that. If you're not happy with your own work, then I think you're in the wrong business, basically.
Well, Dagon, at the end of the day, what you put together with the Law of Winter, Ealdspell, is a really solid piece of work. If people want to buy it, where can they find you on the internet? And what else can they buy with your branding on?
Well, if you head over to wadforecker.co.uk, in the shop section in there, on the 12th, you can buy your very own copy of Ealdspell and play to your heart's content.
Excellent.
We're on Facebook, as is everybody else in the world probably. Just do search for Frostwork on there. On Reverb Nation, there's a YouTube channel. Just search on there as well. And for all you retro heads, there's MySpace as well.
Wow, you're even on MySpace.
No, everybody started on MySpace. There's no denying it. Everybody started on there, and it's a little bit dead, I think now. But
yeah, I think so. But with all the changes to Facebook, at the end of the day, you need somewhere that you actually know that people can hear your music and be updated when they actually want to hear your updates.
To be honest, I'd actually recommend using Reverb Nation.
Right.
Facebook annoys the living shit out of me, to be honest. Yeah, I just don't like it. But it's immediate.
So Reverb Nation's the black metal way to go.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a means to an end. It does its job. But it's just an annoying bloody website, to be honest. If you go down to Bandcamp, bandcamp.com, and search for Frostwork on there, there's the Rites of Winter. The First Storm is available for free to download.
Wow. Okay.
And also the Dunkelheit cover is on there. I also believe that the Wadfrecker Bandcamp page has also got the Rites of Winter on there as well. And I have no doubt that when Law of Winter Ealdspell is out, we'll probably put in a few tracks on there as well. I'm pretty sure that the label will be putting it on for maybe be available on like Amazon and iTunes and the usual kind of things like that as well. So, but go and get a physical copy.
Absolutely. Get a physical copy that you can hold. That's the thing. You miss so much if you just got the digital, don't you?
You do, yes. You do.
Tremendous. Well, listen, Dagon, it has been a genuine pleasure to have you here on the show. I wish you all of the best of success with Ealdspell. I personally have played lots and lots of tracks from the Rites of Winter, the First Storm, and I hope that the Law of Winter, which comes out on the 12th of November on Wadfrecker Records, can be bought on Bandcamp, can be obtained from Wadfrecker itself, really sells out quickly. Guys, if you're listening in to Infernal Rock Radio this evening and you've never come across Frostwork yet, I encourage and urge you, in a British black metal scene which is genuinely improving and genuinely growing and finding its own level of maturity, Frostwork, I would suggest, is amongst the vanguard of some of the best material that you can get hold of. If you haven't seen it yet, come back and listen to the recording of this interview here on the website, or get yourself over to Frostwork on Reverb Nation, or alternatively at Bandcamp at Whatfrecker, or even on that evil Facebook where we can find Dagon's material. I'm going to play one more track before I let you go, my friend. This is Frozen Veins, Shed No Blood. Any last words on this one before I give it a spin?
Keep your eyes out and get yourself a copy of the new album. Hopefully you won't regret it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us on Infernal Rock Radio. This is Frozen Veins, Shed No Blood.